So what is it like to step into this kind of role in a city the size of Blaine and getting up to speed? What's that been like, and what is it like for you?
Well, I find myself saying, just because I can't think of something better, that it's completely like drinking from the fire hose. It has been an incredibly warm welcome, and I'm learning a lot, but it has just been a whirlwind. It's been every step of the process on the way towards being selected, the whole recruitment process. I learned more and more about Blaine. I did a lot of research. I knew about Blaine from when I was here before. Always had a good reputation, both as a place to live, as a community, but as well as an organization, as a well-run city. And so when I heard about the position, it was one of those cities where I thought, that would be a good place to go. I wasn't in an active job search, so it was definitely about this being a place that I'd like to be.
And you're back in the Twin Cities area where you have worked before in Cottage Grove, in Arden Hills, but as you mentioned, that was not the Arden Hills North Metro, but Blaine now. This is a little bit different area than maybe you've worked before. What is it that makes it different? What are the opportunities for a city like Blaine? I guess geographically, but then also economically and things like that.
Well, geographically, it is located in a good transportation hub kind of area, and of course the 35W project is underway. That was all being discussed 12, 15 years ago when I was in Arden Hills, and part of the I-35W Corridor Coalition. It's wonderful to see that it's happening. And that's going to be a difference maker. But there's already been, there is a long history of good transportation access. There's clearly developable land, but Blaine again has a reputation of a little bit slower growth back when other suburbs maybe were starting to grow, careful planning. I think that has played a role in it developing in a nice pattern and not being an uncontrolled level of growth, or being able to keep pace with it from a city service standpoint. I mean, the city just had its bond rating updated, so financially is in excellent shape, which demonstrates, again, careful planning.
More good news. Recently, Money Magazine named Blaine not only one of the best places to live in Minnesota, but one of the top, I think, 100, in the top 100 for the country.
Yeah.
That's got to be a big boost coming into this job and knowing that, but then I'm sure there's opportunities to look for maintaining or even try to even improve that even more.
Sure, yeah. That was announced on my first day. And so while I'd love to take credit for helping with that, it really is a testament to the elected officials, the employees and the residents and the businesses that have all played a role in bringing the city to that point for that type of recognition. It's really rather impressive. And I just keep thinking, you really couldn't ask for a better starting point coming in as a new city manager. I mean, they just got the bond rating updated. They just had that designation. The team of staff and employees is solid, and there's just nowhere to go but up, as I see it. And so that's a very exciting and great opportunity.
Coming from having most recently worked in the Denver metropolitan area and the suburbs there and the growth and the development there, are there any similarities between Aurora, Colorado and the Twin Cities, and specifically the North Metro and Blaine, that you can kind of see those parallels or see ways that you can try things maybe that had worked there maybe?
Well, there's probably lessons both directions. Yeah, things that worked well and things that maybe didn't work as well. Aurora is one of the most unique places I have ever been aware of, certainly most unique in terms of where I've worked. I also worked in the Chicago western suburbs in a fast growth community, Naperville, which also coincidentally was on the top 100 list. Aurora is in 3 counties and has 154 square miles with lots and lots of undeveloped land.
Wow.
So the growth there is just the potential, or the future of it is massive. and really is challenging to keep up. For example, my son's school, when he was in 5th grade, opened. He was the first 5th grade class, and I think it was just 2 years later they brought in mobiles. Wow. I mean, wow. The high school my sons went to built a whole new wing, and they had 3 or 4 mobiles on the site. By the time they opened the wing, they still had to keep the mobiles. So it's very, very high rate of growth. And city services keeping pace with that is a huge challenge. So I think bringing the experience of how you can approach that is going to be valuable. Fortunately, we don't have that level of growth, and so it won't be as challenging. There's a lot of other uniquenesses there. It's a military community with home to Buckley Air Force Base, so got that transient level of community that's a much stronger presence. But and Blaine has different attributes and different qualities of the community that are drawing people in, and so there are differences as well that I look forward to working with.
I would imagine that part of your role is forging partnerships with existing entities and things like that. Obviously, a few different school districts in the city of Blaine, and Okehennepin being one of the largest districts in the state, and a big part of this community. But there's others as well, Spring Lake Park schools here, and even Centennial schools on the one edge. So working with partners like that, and then working with partners in industry, are you looking forward? Are you already starting that process? I know you just got here and are just taking it all in. Is that an important part of your role and how you try to establish? It's
extremely important, but it's also one of the things I looked forward to the most returning to Minnesota and the Twin Cities area. As I mentioned, Aurora was in 3 counties and also three school districts, 2 major ones, and then just a little bit. As they grow, there'll be more. My role there changed over time. I was a deputy city manager, so my group of departments I supervised changed, but I didn't always work directly with our county and school district partners, but in different times we did. But in Minnesota, I experienced in the past great regionalism. And to me, that benefits the taxpayers, it benefits the residents and the businesses, because that leads to more efficiencies. I can't tell you how many times I bragged about some of the projects here where multiple entities came together. This project down in Arden Hills where they have the county, the city, the school maintenance, a soil and conservation district, all officing together in the same site. A big part of my job there and already here is attending meetings to work through regional issues. I am so impressed with that here, how cities, counties, and joint powers agreements for fire departments or cable television. To me, it's coming together. You can be more efficient in providing services to residents by doing that and streamline things. So I just loved that part of my experience when I was here before. Aurora is a really big city, and I mean, most of the time I was there. Like I didn't leave and go work with other cities on things. It was very much Aurora centric, not just because of a lot of circumstances, but they also do not have there nearly as many cities in the Front Range. Here there's more, and the history of working together is very strong, and it's, to me, one of the best parts.
Okay. Yeah. Finally, the last thing I want to ask you is, how much of your job do you consider to be outside of City Hall? I mean, you spend a lot of time, and there's planning and meetings and organization, and it is its own organization and structure, but are you looking forward to, or have you already gotten out, are you going to hear from people rather than just responding to a call or responding to an email or something through the channels of the city? Do you look forward to meeting people face to face and saying, here's what I am about, here's what the city is about? Is that part of what you do?
Absolutely. And in fact, my game plan starting out was, first of all, very quickly meet the employees of the city, meet the team that I'll work directly with, and spend time with the mayor and city council. So the first 2 weeks, that's what I did. The first week I met with every city department. I met most of the employees. I still have a few who I haven't been able to meet, but within that first few weeks I wanted to meet everyone and get to boards and commission meetings, get to community meetings, regional meetings. I've been to a couple already. The city managers in this area already hosted kind of a welcome luncheon. There's a balance of the time spent internally with your staff and then, of course, with the elected officials, making sure you have the communication channels open and establishing expectations and priorities, and then the community. I said in my interview that that's the top priority as I start out, because every city, including Blaine, has a talented team of staff who have been doing their jobs for a long time, know what they're doing, and don't need a new city manager to come in and start giving them day-to-day direction. So they can keep doing the jobs they do well while I am meeting people, talking with them, listening, learning, observing, and establishing those relationships that will all come into play then as we move forward.
Okay, sounds good. Michelle Wolfe, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.